7, 6, 5,
Your go
4,
for APU shutdown on time.
2, 1, liftoff.
Go at throttle up.
Still on its way to orbit after a successful ascent up through main engine cutoff.
Houston, 20 seconds to LOS TDRIS.
Roger. Nice to be in orbit.
This is Escape Pod, part of the Outbreak Podcasting Network. Visit our website at outbreakpodcast.com. And now here's your hosts, Tony Brown and David Anthony.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Escape Pod. I'm David.
I don't have any water.
You don't.
I failed.
What's up, Tony?
Okay, hi.
Who we got with us today?
Rusty James.
Rusty James. Welcome, Rusty.
And I'm not wearing any pants. Oh, yeah. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I promise.
That's on the behind-the-scenes blooper reel. Get some close-up stuff for later.
Well, thanks for inviting me out, guys.
Well, Rusty, thank you so much for being here. We were tickled pink that you were here, man, because you have been in the area. You're pretty much I guess kind of a staple on radio and in the acting business in this area, and in Henderson, Evansville, and it's just really an honor to have you here. Thank you so much for being here.
And now Owensboro.
Owensboro. I love Owensboro.
That's right.
I love close. Moonlight Barbecue. I'm not trying to give them a plug, but I do love me some Moonlight Barbecue.
It's some good grub.
We're gonna argue.
You like Old Hickory, don't you?
Yeah.
I haven't tried that.
That's all right.
Should I try that?
It's only a block away from here.
I think Moonlight is like the most bland, boring barbecue in Owensboro.
I can be persuaded. I will try some Hickory.
Go to Old Hickory.
I will try it. Sorry, Moonlight. I'm trying Hickory.
Yeah, I'm not sorry, Moonlight. You guys are just. I know they're a staple.
Barbecue wars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who knew?
And moving on.
Yes. Segue.
Rusty, welcome again to coming out here today. Now, so let's get back to where you got started. I mean,
sure.
you've done things like you've done radio work. You've been in several bands. You've led kind of a fun life. Where would you like to start at?
Probably a quick start would be I've been doing some kind of entertainment since I was a small child. In fact, I was told that when I was like 3 or 4, I was pretty embarrassing. I would sit up in the middle of wherever I was and start singing songs, and you never knew what inappropriate song I might be singing. So I've been acting since a child, theater, stuff like that. I did play, was lead singer in a band in Evansville, 2 bands. One was called Horizon in the 90s, and we were kind of a country rock band, and then another band called Heartbreak Alley. So I did that probably about 93 to 98, but I've been in radio since 1983. I started at 14. So I started part-time at 14 in little Frankfort, Kentucky, where I was born, a little AM station when I was 14. So been in radio ever since then. I don't think I've ever been out of it.
Wow, and that's pretty cool. I did a little bit of radio for a while because I always wanted to. Certain aspects of radio don't pay as well as you'd hope.
Exactly.
Now, when you get into management and programming, things like that, it does pay a little more.
Thank God I'm in management.
There you go. There you go. Because everybody's like, oh, must be a DJ, must be so cool. And it is. A lot of perks, a lot of fun. But I found it sometimes, like if you do a live remote sometimes, and it was always a 50-50 chance whether the sales rep would be like, oh, we're down to deal with this new client where you're going to waive your talent fee.
Yeah, we don't do that too often, I don't think. But a few years ago, I remember things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Radio has changed for sure in the last several years.
So even though you're like the voice of the radio station for those couple hours, it's not lucrative business?
Not really, no.
I do okay. But I'm also, I'm on the number 1 station in the area.
That makes a difference too.
Manager, 4 stations,
okay.
Operations manager, but I do okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
He does okay.
I'm not rich, but I do okay. I do okay, and I love radio still. So after all these years,
yeah, and it's a lot of fun. It really is.
But I feel like I've been entertaining, some fashion, shape, or form, from singing to radio to. I've always loved music. That's where everything started when I was a kid. Probably like you guys, loved music growing up.
Yeah.
Wanted to play music on the radio. Wanted to be in a band. Played drums in high school. Played a little guitar, but mainly a lead singer in a band. But along the way, always doing some kind of acting and theater. high school to in my 20s, all the way up to today. It's been a couple of years since I've done a play, but I still love to do theater occasionally. You can't really replicate that live audience. It's kind of like walking on a tightrope, so it's kind of fun. But I don't do those as much as I used to because it takes up so much damn time. I mean, you're talking 6 or 7 weeks of rehearsal and then 2 or 3 weekends of performances, so so about 9 or 10 years ago, I started doing independent film, and I love it. I continue to do it. So
well, you've I've seen you in several things, and then I've actually had the privilege of just seeing you recently when you worked with your wife on Ebola.
Right.
And man, you sold it really good. It was really good. The part obviously is not. It's a smaller feature, but your part and what you did, man, was great.
Well,
I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. So, we look forward to getting Ebola out next year. I got a couple of things coming out in the next year. Hopefully, a short film called Naomi and the Whale. I'm pretty excited about it. I shot up in a little bit north of here in Indiana with some guys I knew from IU. Actually, a girl I'd worked with before on a movie at IU called me one day and said, "Hey, we're producing this short film. We'd like to play the role." So it's one of those cool things where I didn't even have to audition. I just got to go, and it was, I could tell you a little bit about it in the sense it's basically a movie about a guy he's kind of like an astronomer scientist, and his wife has died, and he's sick, really sick, and he thinks maybe he's found a way to get to his wife. So I kind of leave it at that. It's cute and touching at the same time. And then I filmed a feature, this was interesting. We filmed this in Odin, Indiana, not too far from Crane, naval base up there, or naval area there. And it's kind of a post-apocalyptic movie, and interestingly enough, they filmed a feature in like 5 days, a full feature in 5 days, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I play like I would kind of say in this post-apocalyptic world, a Negan-esque type character. So it was a pretty fun character to play. They tell me it's going to be on Netflix in May. We'll see if that holds up. So, and then awesome. Ebola. Interesting thing about Ebola. I'm kind of an idea guy. I create characters. I dabble with writing, but my wife's a much better writer than me. And I had been, interesting enough, out bowling with a bunch of my friends. I used to bowl all the time, but not as much anymore. And I came back from that. We had a great time. We were being guys. We were just goofing off and stuff. And I remember I told Cindy, I said, I want to do a bowling movie. Bowling movie. I said, no, yeah. And I said, I think this and that can happen. I don't want to give away too much because you don't want to give it away. But I had the idea, and our friend Jim Doherty, who wanted to be in the cinematographer, and Jim's done a lot of great things. He's been on House of Cards. He's an acting teacher. He was we were hosting one of his film classes at our house, and Jim was there, and I kind of pitched the idea to Jim too, and he was like, "Oh, if you guys write this, I want to come back and film it." And so it kind of took on a life of its own. Cindy wrote it. We went on a cruise, and she was writing it while we were on the cruise. Handwritten, and over the years, I've kept in touch with my friend Will Chase. We grew up together in Frankfurt, and I would pitch him ideas and different things. Anyway, one day I called him, and I said, "Hey," I said, "you probably couldn't be in one of my movies. You're too big for that." And he goes, "What do you mean, Will Chase couldn't be in one of your movies? What are you talking about?" He goes, "Send me the script." So I sent him the script, and about 20 minutes later, I get an email. I'm in.
Nice.
I mean, that's how. That's how quickly it happened. So I know I jumped around a little bit there, but that's kind of where where I've been the last year. It's been pretty great. I've been blessed. Got to do a lot of great things. It was great working with Will and his better half, Ingrid Michelson, is also in it. So we look forward to that next year. Also, Cindy has a pretty cool short out right now I was in, and our production company, Carriage House, produced, called Moving In, which is starting to get in a lot of lot of festivals. I've really a small part in it, but it's
good though.
Yeah, it's
really good.
It is. It's got a lot of compliment. Very short. I think it's like 2 minutes or something like that. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing the last few years. The other one that I was in that's actually been really doing well at the festivals. I was in a couple of years ago. I got to be in a Western. It's called Prisoner of Perdition. Cameron McCaslin, director out of Nashville, produced it, directed it, and it's doing pretty well. So that was fun. I've never done a Western or anything.
Well, you kind of have that face that would look good as somebody from the Old West, and that's a compliment.
I was a marshal.
You know what I mean? It's rugged. Especially with the little bit of the goatee and everything.
Right.
I think it looks good. And I know we were talking before that you and Tony actually had done, well, I should have said done a movie together, but you were on the same movie. Although Tony's participation may not have been as glamorous as yours.
A whole 30 seconds.
You were in Hell's Full, right?
Yep.
And what did you do?
I was sitting in the waiting room of the hospital scene.
Okay. And I wasn't there for any of that, that's why I didn't know that. Yeah. Yeah, Hell's Full. That was fun. That's kind of that's still. I watched that about 6 months ago. I think it's on Amazon Prime, and I watched that. Hadn't watched it in a while, and that's kind of one of those little fun, kind of cultish movies.
Yeah, that was my first experience doing anything with film, and I was super excited. So and I was so nervous because I was sitting in a chair in the waiting room looking at a magazine, and I was so scared that I was going to screw something up because I made sure that I flipped back to the exact page that I started on.
Right.
Because I didn't understand where cameras were, and I was like, oh my God, I got to make sure it's the same exact page.
Continuity.
Yeah.
So it freaked me out, and then we got to watch a couple other scenes be done, and my wife got to do a little makeup, and she was in the same scene as me, so it was super exciting.
Yeah, I did a couple of movies. I did Widow.
Yeah,
which was the first one I did with those guys.
We're in Spirit Stalkers too, just kind of background. Another 30 seconds on camera. More of us was in the credit scenes than actually in the film, but just hanging out and watching all of it, it was super
Steve and PJ
exciting.
are good people. They're good people. They're
I
fun.
like those guys.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah, and that's good that this area has. I mean, in this tri-state area, it's definitely grown the independent film community, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Compared to what it was, years ago, and it didn't. It's just really seems to become its own. And I believe even when Cindy was on our podcast, she made the comment that she really likes shorts because they're kind of like bite size and you can get in there. Obviously features are nice too, but I mean she likes doing the shorts and likes being in some of the shorts because your attention span is just it's focused on that story, whether it's a smaller bit. And then with this with the area there's a lot of different opportunities, it seems like, in the tri-state area for like the shorts and stuff.
Yeah, I mean I've been in several shorts. In fact, it's interesting. It's kind of in an infancy stage in my mind right now, but I mean, I'm kind of trying right now just to think of maybe doing some more episodic type things, so maybe creating some kind of series or something like that. Just because the way I consume things now, it seems like I'm binge watching more TV shows.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Than I'm watching movies. It doesn't mean I don't watch any movies, but I mean, I'm certainly, if there's a series, I sure get addicted to it really fast, just like everybody else.
Yeah,
So.
and the quality of TV shows is so greater than they were 10, 15 years ago. Because we've been on the Punisher kick lately, and that's almost just
it's
movie
very
quality.
brutal.
Well, yeah, I mean, you think about the quality programming that Netflix and Amazon alone are put in, the kind of original stuff they're putting together is phenomenal. So I've been thinking more about that. I don't know if I'll get anything off the ground, but I've been thinking about maybe trying to maybe create a bit of a series or
That would be really, really cool. Something that maybe I mean, I don't want. Obviously, like you said, you're in your infancy, but I think something like if you could get something like that off the ground, I think it would be really, really good to try because you'd have to. I guess you probably have to in your mind 10, 12 episodes, however many you wanted to do, and then basically have a big, story premise for the whole thing, and then weave the individual episodes accordingly, to where it flows.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So that's a lot to process.
Well, it's kind of a change for me because I've always thought of, okay, I want to do this movie, or I want to come up with this movie idea, and now I'm thinking, well, it doesn't have to be a movie. I mean, it could be episodic. And I was, to be fair, I was in a web series too that my buddy Joe Atkinson did a few years ago, Book of Dallas. I was in several episodes of that. And those episodes were anywhere from like 10 to 12 minutes, a few more a little longer than that, but I think there was 10. And it was interesting. It was fun. It was a fun experience. I was in the Book of Dallas, and it was I think that was available on a couple different streaming platforms at the time you could watch it on. So anyway, not to get off topic, but I've kind of been thinking about that a lot more lately. Standardly, I'm always thinking, man, let's make this feature, or I want to get involved in this feature. And now I'm starting to think, well, maybe not. Maybe a series might be interesting. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It may not get off the ground at all.
I wish you luck. I hope it does.
Yeah, me too.
Because
I've got to come up with an idea.
I think it'd be really. I think it'd be really fascinating. And like I said, and plus too, you're something you're going to be. If you do get it off the ground, it's something you can hopefully work toward. And season 1, season 2. Who knows?
Well, and I'm lucky because I'm married to Cindy. Mm-hmm. She's a great director, great actress, and she's also a good writer. Yeah. So. If I come up with an idea, hopefully I can maybe get Cindy to help me write it too. I think I might be able to convince her too.
I think you guys make a great team. You really do.
It is nice to be able to, to share those interests with your spouse, and we do. We both love indie film, whether it be short films, feature length, and she's directed. I have not done that. I don't see me doing that.
No.
Don't see that being my thing. She's pretty good at it. She's growing and getting better each time. But I would say I've done light producing. I've not really done the heavy producing.
Right,
She's always done that. I've done some things, but So I love acting, and I love creating characters. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say I'm a writer. I have dabbled at it, like I said, but I love creating characters. I think that's kind of the thing. Maybe I can shine it. I can come in, okay, I want this character to do this and this, and I think that. You go write it.
There you go. So, I'm gonna make me look good.
Totally backtracking. You saying you did a lot of stage stuff. Mm-hmm. I've always been fascinated with the difference between stage and film, because you said you spend so much time rehearsing, but when you're on the stage, that's it. You don't get cut. Let's do it again. Is it more of a thrill to be on that stage in front of that live crowd than it is to do a film?
I will tell you this. I still get stage fright every performance. No, it's not, it doesn't debilitate me totally or anything, but I would say I'm one of those people that before every performance in a play that I get a bit of stage fright. And I think some of that is what you're referring to, that thrill. It's kind of like being out there without a net. And there's no cut or anything like that. It had been a while since I had done a play, and about a year ago I did an underground show for Civic, which is a smaller show they do at a different location. It was a fun show, quite serious show called The Nether, and I had a real heavy part in it. I won't go into too many details about it, but when we first started rehearsing, I found that I hadn't done theater in a while, and I'd been doing film, and I wasn't big enough anymore for stage. So I had to really kind of, amp that up a bit. The one difference is that, when you're on stage, you're usually several feet away from the audience. Mm-hmm. So some of your movements and things can be a little bit more exaggerated and not really look ridiculous.
Right.
On film, those same things can look ridiculous because how close the camera is.
Yeah.
So that would be one difference. I remember when I started doing some independent film with a bit of a theater background, I had to learn to kind of not be so over the top, or really more learn that the camera can pick up everything, eye movement, a lot of times you can act a scene with your eyes. You can't do that on the stage.
As he looks right into the camera.
Hello? I'm not saying I'm good at it, but that's the one thing, I've certainly been and coached on. So there's a difference there. But yeah, what you're saying, you can't replicate that live, feeling, where you could just fall off the stage at any moment. So
Right.
I'm sure I'll do theater again. It's been a while. It'd have to be the right show. But who knows? I always loved it, and I've done a lot of theater, so I'm sure I'll do something again. Get roped into something. I always do.
Well, let me ask you this without getting too personal.
All right.
He's like, oh, here we
Damn
go.
it, David.
So how did you and Cindy meet? Because she didn't cover this either. So that,
Yeah. Well, that's actually that's kind of a fun story. I had went to work. I took a program director job in Carbondale, Illinois, and I think I started there in it was fall of 1998, something like that, and I saw this real tall, good-looking girl. She started a little bit later than me. She was working in the sales department there for the radio cluster. This real good-looking girl, tall, beautiful. I'm not buttering you up, Cindy. I really thought that. But anyway, and at the time, I was dating somebody else. And she was too. But I asked her out a few times anyway, and she turned me down. She said, you're dating somebody else, idiot. But by about, I would say, January, early 1999, we were both single, and we started going out, and we've been together ever since. I guess it'll be about 19 years. Next year they've been together, been married, I think 17 next year.
Congratulations.
So that's how we met. We worked at radio station together. She was in the sales department. I was in programming, and we just kind of got to know each other, and that's kind of how it happened. So
it's great.
And she is a
That's
beautiful lady. I did mean that.
Yeah, well, she and she's a sweetheart.
But we hid it for a while. We worked together for probably 3 or 4 months, and nobody knew we were dating.
Yeah, well, sometimes you got to be careful with that. So, yeah. What I was expecting him to say was, oh, this real tall, great looking girl, and she had this friend.
Well, they didn't have
and her name was Cindy. That's why I was like, oh, what? I was just waiting for that. What? See, that was me, Cindy, not him. I was joking.
Cindy, see how he's trying to lead me down a bad path.
No,
bad man, David. Bad.
You have a wonderful husband. He's wonderful. Oh, too funny.
But no, it was fun the way we met, though. So it was neat. And she was on radio for a little while, but it kind of got out of that. So yeah. It's
fun. Get the bug sometimes. It's hard. That's why I do a little podcasting, just to kind of have a little fun on the side. As it were.
Exactly. This is my first podcast, so I'm kind of excited.
Oh, well, hopefully it'll be a good experience for you.
No, it has been. It has been.
So far, so good.
I feel like I jumped right into everything. So what did I miss? What did I miss? I mean, what do you want to talk about? Because I kind of just, when I vomited all over you.
That's all right.
I just want to know how you guys sat there by yourselves and just talk.
You're talking about radio now.
Yeah, talking about radio now. Because there's I have a bad habit of, when we're doing the podcast, I get so into listening to the stories from the guests that a lot of times I don't say anything for like 10 minutes. And David's looking at me like, you can talk, you have a microphone. So
most of the time I don't have guests. So I'm playing music and doing things like weather and contests sometimes. A lot of times I'm preparing for newscasts that are coming up that we're going to run, or one of the first things I do when I go on the air at 3 on WIKY is I call Jeff Lyons at 14, and we have a fiber line hooked up between the two, and I get him on the phone, and then we record the weather together, and we do a couple of like banter weather forecasts back and forth, and then he does a couple on his own, and then I edit those together. It's not glamorous. I mean, the first 25-30 minutes of my show between talking on the air, I'm actually putting those weather casts together.
So it's not like TV where you like push play and then you go off and meander about the studio and go
sometimes. I mean, we are in auto, so you can walk around and do that. But on WIKY, there's a little more going on with weather and traffic and different things in the afternoon. So you can leave for a few minutes, but usually you need to be in there to get prepared for what's coming up. So.
Yeah, and with my experience, it's sometimes depending on the show and the setup, it could be you go in and maybe you record 2 or 3 transitions from a song to another song, and you can put those in a bank and drop them in to the computer.
You
It's all
can.
automated.
That's voice tracking.
Yeah.
We don't voice track on Wiki.
Which is good.
I mean, we could, but so far we do not voice track on WIKY. So everything except for Delilah, which is on at night, and
Yeah.
Satellite, everything is live when you hear the guys on Wiki, which is rare.
Yeah, it
A lot of
is.
stations are voice tracked, but we're not on WIKY so far. And we're still staffed. We're staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Even during the syndication, we have somebody in the room.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is,
Because
especially
it is,
for weather and stuff like that. We're the primary emergency alert weather station in Evansville. So when things break, we kind of try to be on top of
You're there,
it. So.
they're the cover where everybody else is trying to catch up.
Yeah, but radio's been great. I mean, I look at radio as kind of, radio, being a musician, being an actor. The only thing I haven't done, which I wish I could do, would be a stand-up comedian. I just don't think I'd be funny enough, but that would be another expression of that. Those are all just, to me, forms of the same thing, entertaining, and stuff like that. And I've kind of always wanted to do that since I was young. Those are the kind of things. It started with music, like I said. And really, too, when I'm acting, I always feel like there's a bit of a rhythm to the part you're playing. Almost sometimes like a song, like a rhythm. And being a percussionist from an early age and a drummer, I tend to sometimes look at scenes that way. What's the rhythm of this scene? What's the beat of the scene? So I don't know if it's served me well, but that's kind of what, one thing that I do sometimes, is, I think all scenes in some ways are like music. They have a rhythm, they have a melody.
Yeah.
So that's one way I look at those things. So.
Yeah. So when you got started, I guess, in your acting, what was some of the first things that you actually, I guess, were able to get into? Was it stage work or was it like school plays?
The first thing I remember doing when I was in like 6th grade, they had us. One of the things they wanted us to do was write our own play and have, and cast a couple of people in and have them present. And it was real short. And I did that. I don't remember what in the world it was, and I'm sure it was awful, but I wrote a little play and I cast all these little guys in it, and we did it. But in high school, I remember I played Dracula in Dracula.
Nice.
And then I did a lot of community theater. I mean, a lot of Neil Simon stuff, Broadway Bound, Brighton Beach Memoirs, Inherit the Wind. I did Dracula again, this time playing Jonathan Harker. Those were the kind of roles I started with. And now, now it's interesting because when I go now, I'm a little older. So,
right.
I'm eligible for roles or not eligible for roles in plays that I used to be. So, which is fine because a lot of those roles that are for my age group, 40 and above. Yeah. A lot of times are more meaty in some of those shows. So
a lot more to them. The mature man is definitely a lot more, seems like character driven and more, I don't know, better than some, teenage type character that's, bebop and flying around and can be, lucid with with some of the story, I guess. Whereas, it seemed like the character can really be more developed because you've got your life with you. You've got your influences. Your character usually, you've lived life, not just "Ooh, let's go party."
Well, I found not that I didn't suspect this before, but I played a pretty bad character in the movie The Haven. I told you about that feature we shot, in the post-apocalyptic world a few months ago. Well, it's more fun. It's more fun to play the bad guy when you can. So
yeah.
And since I don't expect I'm going to be the romantic young lead anytime soon, Why not
You
play the
could be
bad
the
guy?
mature romantic lead. Come on.
Who's a bad guy? Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Guy?
Yeah, there you go.
Guys his way with the ladies, things like that.
There you go.
There's hope for all of us that way.
But it is. I mean, you guys alluded to it earlier. There's so many outlets now for indie film, and that's great. You
Yes.
know, and everybody is a different. You'll work with people that are they're at a different level of their path, or maybe experience level, and it's fun to watch them grow. Some people are here, some people are here. But what's cool about it is that they're doing it, and that's what I always respect. Even people who might say, "Well, I haven't done very much of this. I'm not very experienced. We're trying to shoot our first series or short or whatever." Do it. You gotta get started somewhere, and so it's fun to see that. There's a lot of that going on now, and I've been lucky because in the last couple of years, I've got to kind of branch out and act with some people for some different areas. A little bit in Indianapolis, Nashville, and each time I do something, do a film or something, I meet a couple of people I didn't know before. Whether that's actors, actresses, camera people, sound people. You network with these people. So I met you the other day.
Exactly. Which
on
was
Ebola.
Awesome. Exactly, which I was very happy to do that. It worked out really well. A lot of fun, and I tell you, your wife commanded one of the nicest and well run indie films that I've seen in a long time.
She did a great job on it. And it was funny. I said this. I said we wrapped my filming Sunday night. Probably about an hour or so before everyone wrapped, and it was funny because I wrapped and I was like, normally when I wrap a film, I'm ready to get the hell out of there.
Right.
I mean, and have been ready for 3 hours. I mean, it's just ready. And this one I was like, oh, do I want to go home or I just want to stay around and watch the rest of it, And that's what I said. I told her, I said, this is one of the best film experiences I've had. There was no, oh my God, I can't wait till this is over.
Right.
At all. It was, it really, really went smooth. And that was with, a lot of people, as you know, on set.
Yeah.
So,
everybody really, they knew what they were doing, from the lady who ran the sound to the guys who were doing the lights. If Cindy wanted this or wanted this look, they would do whatever they could to make it happen. And sometimes it doesn't always happen.
Well, and Cindy, she does something really, really smart that we always try to do, but her and Jim really planned this thing out well, and that's a lot of it is having your plan in place. Not, hey, I just want to go make a movie, but show up with a plan. Now, I would not necessarily be good at that, making up the plan. Thank God she is, but it's not, hey, we're just gonna show up and make a movie and see what happens. We didn't do it that way. I've done it that way before. We didn't do it that way this time.
That's probably how I go into it. Just be like, hey, all you 10 people, let's just go make a movie. We'll figure it out.
But that can be fun too, depending on the type of movie you're making.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, I've been really lucky, especially this year. I even got I got nominated for like a Best Actor award at Alhambra. I didn't win, but that was kind of cool. That was earlier in the year. I think that was for what was that for? Out of My Mind, I think, is what that was for.
Nice.
Another one of our short films that Cindy wrote and directed. So we've been busy. Cindy's definitely been busy.
Yeah.
Definitely been busy. So
now, is there anything that you're, that you've been out for or waiting to hear back from?
No, not right now. It seems like in the last 6 months I've had more auditions with my agent that my agent's put me up for than I've ever had. A couple of big things that didn't turn out, but the experience is great. I've had a lot more opportunities lately. So yeah, you just keep plugging away at it. I finally got to the point where I was telling somebody this. Once you get to the point to where you're not really worried about whether you get the part or not, you can I found that I'm starting to have fun doing the auditions, and I'm just having fun for the sake of the audition. Right. It's kind of like, I don't think I'm going to get this. Not really worried about it. I'm just going to do the best I can with the audition and have fun. And I've kind of gotten to the point now where I enjoy the auditions a lot, and I just forget about them.
Right.
In fact, I might be scared when some of them do call back, wanting some.
Hey, you did a great
possibly
read. I'm
cast you or something.
Ooh, what read was that again?
So do you suggest an agent for somebody that's just trying to first get into being serious actor? Or do you think they should just kind of...
I think, you can certainly go get an agent, and there's a lot of them out there. There's good ones and bad ones. But also, too, I think you need to build up a little bit of a body of work first.
Right.
Where you can at least have what you feel like, a credible demo reel of a couple things you've done. Even if it's just a small scene or something, And a lot of times, those are the kind of things that those are the kind of parts you can get on your own without having an agent. So, that would be my suggestion, is to at least have a couple of little things you've done, a little bit of body of work, a couple of movies or shorts or something you've done, and have a demo reel. Because, basically an agent's going to tell you need a demo reel,
right?
And you need headshots and stuff like that. So you can work on that stuff on your own first. Get your resume put together, get some, nice professional headshots, and look up how to do that properly. There is an art to it. I'm not good at it, but there is. But yeah, agents are great. I just don't think that's necessarily has to be the first thing you do. It certainly wasn't what I did. I kind of, I've got a couple agents, and it's been great. They've gotten me some opportunities and stuff. But a lot of opportunities I've gotten just through relationships, or I saw an ad somewhere, and applied for it on my own.
So, and with kind of the world of YouTube now, do you think that's kind of changed the whole game, where you could just kind of, like Dave could throw out a YouTube channel of all the things he's done and just put it out there and hope somebody sees it?
And I don't get sued. No, I'm just kidding.
Because everything seems to be more, I don't know, with this younger crowd and social media and everything, it just seems to be more based on, I can do this all by myself. I don't need anybody's help because of social media.
Yeah, well, it depends. I'm certainly not an expert on it, so don't take anything I say as total gospel. But that's not the case for the companies that are making,
the people that are
major
making
movie and TV companies.
Yeah, they're not gonna look at, PewDiePie and be, he's gonna be the next star of this or whoever.
It happens sometimes. A lot of times, there's some shows that, you're probably not going to get on if you're not union.
Right.
I'm not saying it's impossible, but they're probably not always going to look at you first if there's 3 or 4 other SAG-AFTRA actors that are just as good as you and fit the role. So that's not always the case. We're lucky to be in Kentucky with the film incentive, and a lot of films come here, and they, one of the things they do is they want to cast so many local people in certain roles, and sometimes you can get a bit of a break in some of those that way. Maybe it's a day player role or something, but you've got lines, and it's got a couple of named actors in it, and so. That's, Kentucky has a lot of things coming. I've auditioned for, just in the last 3 months, 4 or 5 films that we're shooting in Kentucky this fall and winter. So,
yeah, it was definitely cool because, growing up around the Tampa area and living in Indianapolis for like 7 years, when we moved here, I would have never imagined that we would have got involved with making movies at all. And this was the only place where we ever had an opportunity to get involved with that. And I was like, holy crap, we're in Madisonville, Kentucky, and we're involved in movies. This is awesome.
Yeah. The way I kind of look at it, guys, is just like, I think about this stuff differently than I did 2 years ago, and definitely differently than I did 5 years ago. I'm still learning every day and trying to learn more, and just just build every year, just get better, learn how to audition better, learn how to, dissect a script or a character better. And quite frankly, just learn how to give a better, more real performance,
Right.
And the thing I judge by for myself is, okay, do I feel like I'm better this year than I was last year? And in the last couple of years, I could say, yeah, I do. That's, it's baby steps, but I mean, for me, I get the satisfaction. Hey, man, this, when I did this role in this movie this time, I feel like I really did this better than the last movie role I did. I feel like I learned something, and that's what I always try to do. I hope it shows, but who knows?
Yeah. Well, I think it does. From an outside looking in, I mean, you can tell you really, you put a lot into to your craft, and I think it's great. I mean, we were talking about your headshots, which we're using one right there.
That's an old one, kind of, but yeah, there you go.
But
That's cool.
but yeah, and you have your own, I think, website. Is that right?
I do. I don't update it enough, but I do. I do rustyjames.net, and you can check it out, and I'll try to update it and have some more things on there. There's a few things there, but yeah. And I mean,
you're on IMDb as well.
IMDb. I've got a Facebook fan page with a paltry amount of fans, and I think there's 2 on there. No, a little bit more than that. But,
or your fans too.
There
you
go.
Right there.
There you go. But yeah, I'm actually. That's probably one of the things I'm not very good at is promoting myself. I'm really not. Cindy has told me that before. I'm not good at it. So, but no, it's every year. I just try to be in a better place, acting wise, and with the craft we try to do than I was the year before. So, that's kind of where I'm at. I love all kinds of movies. I mean, I do like horror movies fine. I wouldn't say I'm a horror aficionado. My wife is. She can tell you a lot
horror
more.
Movies,
but I like being in them. I've been in a couple. But I would be just excited to be in a touching romance or a drama. It's just something to kind of challenge me.
So, do you have a dream co-star that you? Like, if you could just be in any movie, just 1 or 2 scenes with anybody.
Well, he's putting you on the spot, isn't he?
No, and it's funny because a couple of people know this is actually a little funnier than on the surface, but I would love to. There's several people I'd love to be in movies with. I mean, I've always been a huge Tom Hanks fan, but I'd love to be in a movie just to share a scene, probably with Walton Goggins. That would be one that I would really, I could get the hang of that really fast.
That would be nice.
Yeah. Yeah. There's several others. I could come up with several, but I kind of like his work a lot. So
very cool. Well, maybe someday it will happen.
You never know. You never know. You keep plugging along, right?
That's right. You keep going to those auditions.
Yeah, going to the auditions and or doing the self-taped auditions, which we do a lot of too. And that's kind of one of the cool things. A lot of times. You're just taping these things and sending them off, You may go to an in-person audition if you get like a callback, or sometimes you might just get booked from the tape,
Wow, yeah.
Which, 20 years ago, we couldn't have done it that way, so.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Well, we wish you all the luck in growing as an actor, and I think you do great work, and I have no doubt that you will definitely be feature material. And we also wish you luck on this idea you have about this series.
Yeah,
Nice.
You're the first people I've told that to, so
But now everybody listens to the podcast.
I'm going to open a can of worms.
Breaking news.
We are.
But I will say, and I'm most excited about Ebola next year.
Yeah,
Ebola coming out. I can't say a whole lot about the plot of it, but
I got to see some behind the scenes stuff. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We had a great cast. We had Will Chase. I got to be in it as well. A guy named Paul Nicely, and my friend Leo Kempf was in it.
Leo was fantastic.
He was awesome. Leo does a lot of improv work too, and he's first of all, he's just a great human being.
Several scenes he stole. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he did. And then we had Ingrid in it, Ingrid Michaelson, who's a pop star, and we also had several other local talented, gorgeous females in the. Movie, and we'll just leave it at that.
Exactly.
But it's going to be exciting. 4 guys decide to go out for a night of bowling and hunting for women, and interesting things happen.
There you go.
Leave it there.
There you go. Well, hopefully after the premiere, maybe we'll have you and Cindy both back on.
That would be fun
to talk about that. That would be fun. Good. to get that going and see where you can adventure out with the hopefully it'll be all over the circuit. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty popular.
Yeah.
The poster's pretty cool too, by the way.
Yeah, I know the guy. I know the guy who worked on the poster. He did a wonderful job.
Well, we're going to put links to your IMDb page, excuse me, and also to your website and on our show notes at outbreakpodcast.com is our website, and you just click on the Escape Pod link. Right there, buddy.
And West 6, since you won't sponsor me, maybe Sam Adams Rebel IPA is going to sponsor me.
Oh, Tony's always trying to get the beer sponsors.
Trying to get a beer sponsor.
One of these days. One of these days.
You haven't got Yingling in here yet?
You know what? I don't like it.
Yeah, I had it once. It was okay.
I was all the hype I'd heard about it for so long. We got some last weekend, and I wasn't impressed.
Warsteiner guy.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
Old German.
Yeah, definitely Warsteiners.
Flat blue. That's me. Little Canadian beer. That's what I drink. All right, Rusty, James, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. This has been great. What is it? We've been here 3 hours, haven't we?
No, it hasn't been quite that long, but it feels like it.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Escape Pod. If you enjoyed it, please like the episode and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you would like to be a part of future podcasts, then email us at outbreakpodcast@gmail.com. And be sure to visit our website, outbreakpodcast.com, for more episodes, show notes, photos, and other podcasts on the Outbreak Podcasting Network. That's outbreakpodcast.com.